This is Fandom at Night with special guest Thomas Nicholson.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for agreeing to come on and talk with us for a few minutes. Uh,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Legends of Tomorrow episode that just aired, and then I have a few fan questions for you before we check out. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Cool. So we all know that you got the opportunity to play David Bowie, and this is probably a duh question, but were you a fan already before of David Bowie?
I was, yes. I don't even know if it's a dumb question because I think I have auditioned for other real life people that, not that I thought ill of, but I wasn't a fan of. So this was this was kind of special even at the audition stage that I've always been a fan.
Do you think that made it easier or more challenging to take on the role?
It might have made it easier in the audition phase because it's, typically it's like, here's the audition, give us a tape within 24 hours kind of thing, usually. And as a fan, I already knew what he sounded like. And I did watch the videos just to sort of tap into him circa that kind of era, but I didn't have to start from scratch in researching the person.
Got it.
And then, I obviously had a little more time than that before we started shooting. I don't know if it was a hindrance, but there's obviously I don't want to do something that's offensive. Like I want to sort of get it right and still honor what the show is. It's like it's a fun and fictional show, and I don't want to not belong on the show either. So right. It might have made me more nervous, but I don't necessarily know that it got in the way. I don't think so.
I heard it was well received. Everything I've heard has been good. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I also heard that you got to do some recording.
Yeah, that's right.
Episode. How was that experience? How did that come about?
Oh, that was kind of unreal. That's not. I played in a band for a number of years in sort of late teens, early 20s. So I have been. The experience of recording wasn't brand new to me, but I have not done it in years, and I've never done it for a TV show. Mm-hmm. And I've never recorded lead vocals for anything either. So that was, and it was an odd experience too, because obviously it is my voice, but it is me trying to sound like one of the greatest singers in history. It's not, it absolutely is my voice, but it's not my normal singing voice.
Right.
But it was a cool experience because of COVID. I was in the studio by myself, and then on the other side of the sort of glass there was a technician, and then all the producers who were involved with the recording were actually in over Zoom or something similar, but like online. They weren't there in person. So that was kind of an odd experience too, just having all these people look at me through a screen and giving notes. It was a team thing, but I was also there by myself in a weird way. So it was a very new experience, so which was cool. I love any part where there's something that feels really new. I love that.
I guess that was probably their first episode they filmed after the COVID shutdown then, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, I think, well, I know the day that I was on set for one day for this episode, and that was the first day back.
Oh, wow.
Not just the episode, but also that day of shooting. I think it was supposed to be the third day, but just in sort of getting everything in gear, it took until the third day, which was my day. So that too was new for everyone, cast and crew, everyone.
Interesting. I can't imagine how much different that had to be, getting used to all those changes that they had to kind of set up for that.
Yeah, I don't think the difference is the biggest for the actors. I think it's more for some of the crew, like things like setting up a scene, setting up the props and the lighting. They have to do it like one team at a time, whereas usually before they could save a lot of time by everyone just kind of like getting in there at once. But it certainly, if it's like a small indoor set, you're just not allowed to be that many people close to each other. But it wasn't like a big difference I found, other than the energy and the conversations on set are a little bit different. But when it got down to the actual work, the only difference was in blocking a scene and any kind of little rehearsal. Everyone, including the actors, are wearing a mask, and then we only take the mask off once it's time to actually shoot.
Oh.
And it's a little bit odd, but I don't know, you get used to it. I guess you have to.
Now, you also did an independent film during the COVID changes, right? Called The Day We Left. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the film and kind of how that story comes about?
Yeah. So that was it's a film funded by something called the Harold Greenberg Fund, and they fund these. It's a short film, and they have this shorts to feature program where they help fund the short film, and then they try to get a feature film off the ground based off this short film. So I joined the short film. I'm not involved in any of this. I'm just there as an actor. But I joined off an audition, and it's a really moving story. It's based on a true story of these two young Muslims who lived in Bosnia in the early 90s, where there was a horrible war. I don't know how well known it is in North America, but there was a horrible war, basically a genocide. And this Muslim couple left everything behind, their home behind, to escape to safety. And it's kind of it's a story of their struggle to decide to leave their home country in order to save their lives and the life of their unborn child.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I can't imagine.
No, it was very, and I thought I think it's a really interesting. I mean, I'm a very white Caucasian person, and I think most people think of Muslims as brown people, but the Muslims in Bosnia look like me, and I thought it was really interesting. It's cool to be part of a story about people who are often thought of as something else and other and different, and hopefully show that they're just a family who want to protect their child and protect the people they love, and I mean, stay on the land that is rightfully theirs, and they're just like the rest of us, people who are not Muslim. Like, it's the same. We all want the same things, and have the same. Well, those are heightened struggles, obviously, but at the end of the day, we want the same things. So I was really it was a really great project to be part of.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it hopefully we'll be able to educate people in areas that they weren't aware of before.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a hope, because it is sort of again, it's an awful war, but it sort of went under the radar a little bit, or certainly now is a bit of a forgotten and just very significant part of history.
Amazing. Now I want to also mention that I received notice you're going to be in Motherland Fort Salem, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And that is I think going to be starting in June. They're supposed to be coming out with their second season.
I'm not actually 100. I know it's this summer, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if they've announced the actual dates. I haven't heard anything more specific than summer, but I think I saw on IMDb there were some dates, but I don't know if they're confirmed or not.
Are you allowed to tell us anything about your character, or would that be spoiling?
Yeah, I mean, it's very limited, because I mean, the whole first season was in that academy basically, and we're sort of learning the trades of these witches who are joining the military kind of thing. And then in the second season, there's a little bit more opening up to the outside world, and I can say I'm part of this outside world, and there are many different pieces of this outside world, but I don't really want to give away what my involvement is. I can say I had a lot of fun working with some of the characters you've already seen in season 1, and in meeting me, you'll also meet other new characters.
Okay, we can deal with that.
Yeah.
Talking about working with other characters, that actually brings me to one of the fan questions we had.
Okay.
I know that you probably are aware that Supernatural is a pretty big fandom, and I know that you came on in the later seasons and had a role where you played alternate universe Bobby Singer's son.
Right.
I had someone ask me to ask you if you remember what your experience on that set was like, and how you felt about being a part of the show.
Yeah. No, I remember it quite well. I thought like that was such a, because I joined late, like you said, and it was such a well-oiled machine, and I mean that like 100% in a good way, where just the crew knew exactly what they were doing, and the cast as well. I mean, yeah, it was just it's kind of interesting because I worked on a couple of pilots as well, or season 1 or some things as well, where sometimes shows are finding their feet, and that one was just, it was so easy to slip into that because everyone around me like knew what the show was and what was happening and where it had been and where it was going, and yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Now you also had a part in The Haunting at Bly House. And I understand that you are a bit of a horror fan. You actually kind of sought out that part a little bit.
In a way, yeah. It was. I guess I sought it out in the sense that I loved the first season, The Haunting of Hill House. I thought that was a great show, and then I knew that Bly Manor was going to film in Vancouver, so I did I started reading the novel it was based on, The Turn of the Screw, or one of the stories it's based on. I started reading that and just kind of watching other of Mike Flanagan's movies, like in his that he's done. I just wanted to set myself up so that if an audition came in, I would just be just ready to go, understand even though it's a new show because it's an anthology show, I would just understand the tone and what was going to be required. So that was thrilling it's so exciting to be on a show that I'm already a big fan of, and work with people whose work I really admire.
What would you say the most exciting part about being on that set was, working on that show? I know you had a kind of an interesting twist to your character.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let that be up to you and your discretion if you want to reveal that, because the show's already out, so it's not.
Yeah, it's been out. We're okay.
Yeah. No, and that was really exciting. That it's like, because it wasn't a role where I had to do a lot of acting for. I'm basically sort of a glorified extra, if you will. Like I don't have any lines, but it's important that I'm part of it, because as it turns out, I'm this older Miles. So it was really fun to be on the set and just be able to, there was no pressure on me. Like I felt very easy about, like, I'm not going to fail at this. So it's once I'm there and I booked the part and I'm on set, everything is, it's easy for me to do what they want me to do. So there's no pressure, and I can just enjoy some really good actors and being part of the thing. And yeah, it was really fun to be part of one of the biggest reveals on the show.
Yeah. I know that we still had a lot of fans still talking about it, even though it's, it's come out, it's been a little while, but it still generates a lot of excitement. And I mean, it's a good show. It's
Yeah.
really good.
No, it's interesting. I remember actually when I auditioned for it, I didn't know, I knew it was the show I auditioned for, but I didn't know anything about the character. They had actually written an audition scene. I didn't know this, but it was a scene written for the audition that's never in the show.
Oh, so they didn't want to reveal it to you.
No, and the sides in the audition, just I was just the bride's brother, which is how I'm introduced on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a conversation between brother and sister at the wedding, and sort of congratulations and we made it all this far kind of thing. So I just knew that I was a wedding. No, I didn't even know I was a brother, actually. I just knew I was a wedding guest, and I obviously knew the bride well.
Right.
I thought like, oh, maybe I'm a ghost because I'm talking to her in a certain way, like I know her, or like, because based on season 1, I knew there was going to be some kind of ghost manifestation. So yeah, it wasn't until I got an offer for the part that I saw like older Miles. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So that, yeah, even for me, that was quite a reveal.
Awesome. I have 2 more for you. I know I promised to keep you for just like 15-20 minutes. So
that's all good.
I just wanted to kind of give you a chance to talk about any other projects that you have coming up soon. Anything you kind of want to throw out there?
I mean, there's one I'm excited about, but I can't. I mean, it's another CW show, but I'm very excited about it. But I unfortunately can't say anything about it just yet. But something else in the late summer that I'm really excited about. I can't say a lot other than I had a lot of fun filming that.
Well, maybe I can get you to come back when it's time for that to come out, and we can do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would love to tell you more about it because it was a great experience. But
oh, that's awesome.
My lips are sealed. It's another one of those where if I say a little bit, it's a spoiler for the show kind of thing.
No.
I guess that's been a thing. Like with The Haunting of Bly Manor, I couldn't say anything about that until that was out. And
right. No,
Motherland to lesser extent, but because it sort of reveals about the outside world, it's I don't know. I hate spoilers myself, so plus I get in trouble. But
I usually try not to too. I try to avoid all spoilers, especially if I have to wait the next day to watch something and everybody else has done it. No internet at all.
I hear you. Yeah, that was the sort of missing an episode of Game of Thrones when that was out. That's the kind of like just close your ears.
That's no good. Okay, and then my last one, just for fun, if there's anyone you would like to work with that you haven't had a chance to yet, who would it be?
Actor?
Anything. Actor, producer, director, anybody.
It's such a hard question. I mean, it's a hard question to narrow down to one. And if you ask me another time, I'm sure it'll be a different answer. But let me think. I just watched Yellowstone, and I watched the movie had come out last year. So now I'm thinking like Kevin Costner. I was just like, oh, it's just interesting. He's one of those, like, he's one of the sort of, I think maybe the last remaining movie stars. There's this talk about movie stars don't really exist in the same way anymore, but he's one that still is one.
What did you think of Yellowstone?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really sort of oddly easy to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed the acting in it, and
it's a beautiful scenery to it.
Oh yeah,
I really love the cinematography.
I mean, they have these like long sequences of just like guys riding on horses, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. I can watch it. And I'm not like, I'm not sort of a horse person or anything. I mean, they're great, but I'm not like, I don't have a horse. I never had a horse. I'm not like, but it's quite it's so majestic to look at.
Definitely. Thank you so much for talking to me, and I really do hope we can do it again.
Thank you. My pleasure. Yeah. No, please. I'd love to tell you more when I can.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
According to showrunner Phil Klimmer, fans have not seen the end of David Bowie's story on Legends of Tomorrow, so catch new episodes Sunday nights on the CW at 8/7 Central. Before you go, be sure to click subscribe on our YouTube page to get notifications on all the things we have going on in the future, including many more interviews. You can also follow Nerd Alert News on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for updates.